think I'm up on all the locations. This is Geek News Central. My name is Todd Cochran, coming to you from the New Media Production Studios in Coldwater, Michigan. The lead stories: Facebook and Google had sweetheart deal on ads, which may lead to additional antitrust issues. The FAA has approved operator-less drone flights. Duck, duck, go, winner, winner, chicken dinner. Virgin Orbit earns the Orbit title. I want to welcome you to episode 1501 of the Geek News Central podcast for Monday, January 18th. This show is sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com and listeners just like you. Great deals from GoDaddy can be reached at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Again, geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. You can become an insider by supporting this show today at geeknewscentral.com/insider. Hey, as we're live today, if Facebook drops off, which it may, the backup is at live.geeknewscentral.com. You can go there and watch the show. We'll know when we switch in a few screens. I'm going to hold off to a little later. So those of you that are here, in case you want to jump over, you can. But if you're brand new to the show, I want to make sure you go over to geeknewscentral.com. Go over to geeknewscentral.com. When you're over on the website, get subscribed to the show. All you got to do there is really click on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, where you may want to listen on TuneIn or Amazon Music or Spotify. Really, there's all the options are there for you to subscribe to the show. You can also subscribe to our newsletter. Newsletter link is on the website as all. If you're watching the show for the first time on video, I would normally have the screen up, but that's every time I flip the screen, that's when Facebook has kicked me off. So just trust me, get over to geeknewscentral.com. Of course, you can join our chat room at geeknews.chat. That's a Mastodon chat server, part of the Federation, or on our Discord channel. That link is in the show notes at geeknewscentral.com. And of course, today, if you have comments today, you can email me here, geeknews@gmail.com, geeknews@gmail.com, at geeknews is the Twitter address. And of course, you can follow me on Facebook. All my partner shows are linked at geeknewscentral.com. That includes the New Media Show, the Pro Gear Site, the Gadget Professor, Podcast Legends, the GNC Week in Review, and even our link to our live page at live.geeknewscentral.com is over there. There is a chat room over there. Of course, you can chat on YouTube as well if you just go to the YouTube page. So plenty of places to get the show live if you want to watch it live. Of course, this show would not be possible without our longtime sponsor, GoDaddy. GoDaddy's been a sponsor of this show since June of 2005. They are the longest we are, and this show is and has the longest running continuous sponsor of a podcast. And of course, what that means for you is savings on GoDaddy products and services, whether it's 30% off a new product purchase, whether it's $1 a month economy hosting for the first year with a free domain, or $1 a month to manage WordPress hosting for the first year with a free domain. That really is a substantial savings. Of course, if you've never been a customer of GoDaddy and you've got a .com that you want to transfer or a new one you want to buy, a $4.99 .com deal. If you're a business owner, free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder. This is really purely designed for anyone that is just really has absolutely no web skills whatsoever. So check out the free trial of GoDaddy Website Builder, your choice of personal, business, or business plus plans. That's a 1-month free trial. Again, all this is possible by using one of my promo codes. Check it out, geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. First and foremost, wow, what a show 1500. It was a train wreck as far as the live stream goes. For those of you that were listening later via podcast, I edited. I think I removed 3 or 4 minutes of content. At least I didn't swear during it. But what was happening and what we found out later was the second I switched to this normal. So right now, those of you watching Those of you listening to the podcast don't care. But what would happen is, as soon as I switched in, and it should not make any difference whatsoever, but apparently there's some sort of a logo, because it happened on the new media show on Saturday. We proved it. And again, I'll probably test it later near the end of the show to see if GoDaddy kicks me off near the end. So for those of you watching tonight, it's going to be me, no screenshots to the end, because we'll wait to the end to test it. I did make one small change here on the live stream. I turned the kilobit sending down a little bit, thinking that might have been it. But let me see if we're still live. And it looks like I'm still up. Okay, so what will happen is, and again, Rick, if you want to come back a little later, I'm not going to switch it until later because I don't want to lose the Facebook folks if I have to, but I want to test it at the end. But when I would switch in a screenshot, boom, they dropped me. And they did it 3 times during the 1500 episode. They did it at the end of the new media show the other day. I've gotten confirmation from other podcasters, other streaming folks, that this is happening to them as well on Facebook. I don't know why. I don't know what might be causing it. I don't know if we've been flagged. I don't know if whatever the reason is yet to be determined. So I know, looks like a lot of folks already went over to the live page. That's fine. And if you want to be over there, you can check in and say hello, or basically on the YouTube page as well. So yeah, a lot of you have moved over there. So that's okay. Either place is fine. I'll try to switch back and forth and make sure that, but if this continues, Facebook is probably not going to be a long-term home for me for streaming for much longer. I'll just upload the video later, which will suck because I get a lot of good interaction with folks on Facebook. And then, I'll contact Facebook and see what may be the issue. But anyway, so just as a reminder, we're starting the private podcast, the Insider podcast. That will be for anyone that contributes to the show or has a significant, it doesn't have to be money. It could be a significant contribution to the show in other ways. So I've got to get that ramped up and get going here, get your invites out. So that's still planned. And really, you can become part of the Insiders just by going to geeknewscentral.com/insider. So that's all I've got really for you. I don't have nothing. Had exciting 1500. I'm glad it's through, and we're on the march now to 1600. It's kind of okay, just another number, but that's what's going on. We got snow, ice here. This morning was the first day that I've had challenges on the road because it was so slippery. I thought my snow tires could do everything. They don't, so I had to slow down a little bit, which is okay as well. But anyway, we're good to go here. So let's go ahead and get into the stack of content. We won't waste any time. But there's a good article over on Engadget talking about Facebook and Google, how they've allegedly cut a deal that reduced ad competition. And this is going to hurt their chance of surviving an antitrust case. The antitrust case against Facebook and Google is got some additional fuel here, as being reported by the New York Times, where they say they've obtained documents from a Texas antitrust lawsuit elaborating on a sweetheart deal. And this was first mentioned by the Wall Street Journal. Google gave to Facebook in 2018, allegedly reducing ad competition nicknamed Jedi Blue. It's reportedly gave Facebook favors and ad header bidding, where sites could solicit ad space bids from multiple exchanges at once in return for backing Google's open bidding approach to selling those ads. And the terms Facebook received gave them inherent advantages, according to the New York Times. Facebook had more time to bid for ads, had direct billing deals with the sites hosting the ads, and help from Google to understand ad audiences. So a little bit of collusion here on the part of Google and Facebook, as it looks to me, in my opinion. Now, Facebook said it would bid on at least 90% of ad auctions when it could identify users, and promised minimum spending levels up to $500 million per year. It also asked Google to avoid using bid info to avoid using bid info to skew ad auctions in its favors. Other Google ad partners didn't get nearly as sweet as a bargain. The complaint effectively accused Google of guaranteeing a set number of ad wins for Facebook and putting rivals at a disadvantage. No surprise there. And, of course, Facebook and Google have already said this was not anti-competitive. And, okay, whenever time someone else gets a better deal than everyone else, this isn't going to necessarily sway regulators. And there are even suggestions that two tech giants were conscious of the potential for scrutiny. A clause in the deal required that the two cooperate and assist if there was an investigation into the practice, and the agreement mentioned antitrust at least 20 times. So don't be surprised if Texas and other states in the Department of Justice use Jedi Blue to justify regulatory action against Facebook and Google, no matter how much the companies believe they're in the right. So a little bit of action here on that part, and we'll see what happens as we go forward. Nicholas, thanks for saying hi on the YouTube channel. And if you're watching on Facebook today, make sure you check in. Rick, I do appreciate you checking in. Thanks so much. But if anybody else is watching, make sure you say hello. We appreciate it when you do. The FAA has approved something that's really cool here. It's called the first commercial drone flights with no on-site pilots. Now, a remote human pilot will still need to conduct pre-flight safety checks. Okay. But farms and other agriculture operations in certain rural areas of the United States can now use robotic drones to take images or gather data on their crops. The FAA has approved Massachusetts-based American Robotics' request to be able to deploy automated drones without human pilots and spotters on site. As Wall Street Journal notes, commercial drone flights typically require the physical presence of a licensed pilot, making it a costly undertaking. AR Machine eliminates the need for an on-site personnel, so another job eliminated here. So those of you that went got your commercial drone license, you may not be needed as much. And basically, you're going to have a remote human pilot that could probably, monitor hundreds of these types of flights. So basically, you've got the drone who's not in a remote location. They pop the lid, or however that's going to work, or the farmer sets it up, turns it on, and the drone takes off, does its thing, comes back, lands, and uploads its data, however that works. So American Robotics said, listen to this. They say, with these approvals, American Robotics is ushering a new era of widespread automated drone operations. Decades worth of promise and projections are finally coming to fruition. We are proud to be the first company to meet the FAA's comprehensive safety requirements, which had previously restricted the viability of drone use in the commercial sector. We are very grateful for the FAA's willingness to work closely with American Robotics over the past 4 years on this precedent-setting authorization. With this set of approvals, American Robotics can be safely operating our automated Scout platform for the benefit of energy, infrastructure, agriculture, and security market verticals, helping unlock the projected $100 billion commercial drone market. So, what does this really mean? This means that if you have one of their drones and one of their platforms on your property, they're going to be able to do monitoring of probably power lines, your infrastructure, ag growth, run security around the building, all kinds of different things there without having to have a qualified commercial drone pilot on site. So automation, once again, is going to eliminate some jobs here. And this is a pretty big deal. My sister sells seed corn. And oftentimes she has to take her drone to whatever farmers that she's working with and fly the drone and do a survey of the fields and look at crop growth and, just things that they do as part of their business dealings. And, she has to use that as an observation of what's going on. Now, basically, this could probably be farmed out. And obviously, you're going to need to have one of their platforms. You're going to have periodically someone probably go look at the drone. Who knows? But a lot of this is automated. Again, the drone lands on the platform, probably gets recharged automatically. It gets pulled back into the box closes it up. It's a security lid, so that and probably there's just a mobile signal to that box, and you could have that thing. You think about it going to the future, you could have an automated truck or vehicle drive around a bunch of these, park, and on the side of the road or in a place where you can do flights. And these could be flown out of the back of a pickup truck remotely. So it's a very interesting, and I think we're going to see a lot more of this type of stuff, and lots of drones in the skies for sure. Okay, next up, we have DuckDuckGo. How many of you ever went to DuckDuckGo? Well, DuckDuckGo, winner chicken dinner, in that they've surpassed 100 million daily search queries for the first time. They've reached historic milestones in a week when both Signal and Telegram saw huge influx of new users as people were pissed off and left and are boycotting platforms like Facebook and other platforms. So they're going to DuckDuckGo, and so that's very, very interesting. The search engine's rising popularity due to its stated goal of not collecting user data and providing the same search results to all users. Oh, that's interesting. So the search engine's popularity is due to its stated goal of not collecting user data and providing the same search results to all users. As it highlighted last year, this lack of granular data sometimes make it hard for the company to even estimate the size of its own user base. But the dedication to privacy has also helped the company gain a following among the privacy-conscious crowd. DuckDuckGo has been selected as the default search engine in the Tor browser and is often the default search engine in private browsing modes of several other browsers. Of course, there was a historic week for privacy apps, and when people were abandoning Twitter. Now, I looked at my Twitter account, and it did not go down. It did not. My Twitter user count has not shrunk at all. But let's see here. DuckDuckGo.com. And let me go over there. And I haven't searched over there in a while. So let's look for Geek News Central. And what do we come up with? So yes, I'm obviously first in the search results. I want to show this page badly, but I can't. It shows my 1500th episode, shows my YouTube channel, shows my Apple Podcast listing, shows my Facebook listing, shows me on Stitcher, and then it points to some popular recent articles. So that's very cool. Again, I haven't been over here in years, and let me search for my name, and let me look at that. So it's at my About, Facebook, YouTube, a bunch of my pictures along with some other dude. My old blog that hasn't had any updates in years. Columbus CEO, my Wikipedia entry is no longer, so there's someone else without an E. And then the other Cochran, the other Todd Cochran in Kansas. So let me do one other thing. Let's try this. GoDaddy promo codes. Let me see if I turn up in these results anywhere. Retail Me Not, GoDaddy coupons, Forbes, coupons.com, the VPN, offers.com. Yeah, so I'm definitely not in the top 10 search results there, nor am I in the top 20 or so. So, but they're still showing December codes. Yes, I'm way down the stack. So that doesn't help me anyway. But anyway, with the sponsorship with GoDaddy, every time you link to my GoDaddy promo code page, it helps me out a lot. So anyway, get a chance, go over there and try DuckDuckGo.com. You won't be tracked. It's something new. Search results don't look that different than Google's, But what I search for and what you search for will result in the same exact thing. We do this test all the time with my team at Blueberry. We all will do a search term, and then we'll load an incognito window. Each of us will do a search term and see the difference results. When you are incognito, you are not incognito. There is still a difference that's being served. You think you're running incognito windows on Google that the search results would be exactly the same? It's not the case. It's not the case at all. Different results even happen when you're running an incognito window. Virgin Orbit just earned the orbit part of its name. Ars Technica is saying this magnificent flight is the culmination of many years of hard work. And, here's the thing. When I was in the Navy, and this goes way, way, way back. We've talked about this before. I went out to Mojave and hung out at what would become ultimately Virgin Orbit. They were making composite aircraft, all kinds of stuff. And so it was kind of cool being out. And this was like around the time the FA-18 was being introduced. So this was 90, 80, 47, around 94, 95. And of course, fast forward all these years ahead. And this same group, which is now obviously known as Virgin Orbit, has successfully launched into orbit. The Launcher One rocket dropped from a 747 aircraft, and it has become the first rocket with an air-launched liquid-fueled rocket to reach orbit, and they actually put a couple of satellites up, a couple of small satellites for NASA. And they've had lots of technical challenges over the years, but good for them. And Branson has spent about $1 billion on this endeavor so far. So congratulations to Virgin Orbit. And little did I know in those humble days, and it was kind of like this ramshackle operation, composite stuff going on with the hangar door open. I mean, yeah, it was different for sure, but they were on the leading edge back then as far as composite aircraft. And to be honest with you, I don't remember why I went over there. Had something to do with the F-18 and looking at something, I don't know. But I was just the flight attendant, per se, bringing a bunch of people in C-12s over there. GitHub has gotten under some pressure. They've admitted significant mistakes were made in firing of a Jewish employee. Basically, this employee it's there in Washington, D.C., and they're going to give the employee his job back. The HR director has been fired. The controversial firing came 2 days after employee warned colleagues in Washington, D.C. to stay safe from and he termed it, Nazis. He posted a message on January 6th, the day of what happened in Washington, D.C. The warning sparked criticism from a colleague who took offense at the use of the word and prompted GitHub's HR team to reprimand the employee. 2 days later, he was fired. But in the wake of the termination, roughly 200 GitHub 17 employees signed an open letter asking for clarity as to why the employee was let go. And so anyway, he's going to get his job back. So it is interesting. So a little bit of sing in the news on GitHub. Universe Today has a pretty cool article talks about the new online home of the world's biggest eye on the sky. And of course, this was originally, I think, supposed to be happening on Kilauea in Hawaii, but the protesters there have delayed a new telescope that's going up. There's an extremely large telescope, ELT. It's a highly anticipated observatory scheduled to have first light in 2025. They have a new website. Well-designed, contains a plethora of details and images about the new telescope, its instruments, and how it will further our knowledge of the cosmos. So the new website is elt.eso.org. And so anyway, For those of you space watchers and those of you interested in what's going on with the construction of telescopes, check this out. The ELT it's under construction top of a mountain named Cerro Amazonas in the Atacama Desert of northern Chile. So the ELT would consist of a reflecting telescope with a 39.3 meter diameter segmented primary mirror with 798 hexagon elements. The observatory aims to gather 100 million times more light than the human eye, 13 times more light than the largest optical telescope, and be able to correct for atmospheric distortion, adaptive optics, 8 laser-guided star units, and multiple science instruments. So the ELT, First Light 2025. Moving on here, we're right after the holidays, right? So maybe looking for some budgeting tools. There's 5 budgeting tools to manage your finances and save you money. Go Budget is one that works for Android and iOS. We've got something that has actually been designed. It's actually a Google Sheet that is kind of pre-built for you that you can use that. That's a free one. My Budget is a Windows, Mac OS, and Linux open source budgeting software. There's the 80-20 budget for those who don't save for the future. That's another one. And what else? There's a budget planner book. So a whole bunch of resources here from the folks of makeuseof.com. So today I've given Kirk some instructions on some articles to kind of stay away from here over the next couple of weeks. So we got a lot of articles today from makeuseof.com because it was relatively slow news day otherwise. But moving on here, 3 social media apps without logarithms or ads. One is Vero. So it's a social media. Vero is has no advertisement, does not use logarithms or data mining. It's a pure form of social media where an audience views each post on an intuitive basis. The next one is called Caffeine. With social distancing remaining firm in place, many people need to connect online. Caffeine is a place where people can watch live streams together virtually. You cannot only watch other events, but you can get creative by creating your own shows. And then there's Clubhouse, which I've been using a little bit. Clubhouse is basically a chat line, big chat line with moderators. And it's gotten a lot of excitement for podcasters and so forth. So I've got a few Clubhouse invites left. I've divvied Clubhouse invites out to my team at Blueberry that need them, but I tell you what I'll do. I'm going to reserve this. I think I've got 2 or 3 left. If you become an insider and you want to invite to Clubhouse, this is for new insiders only. And matter of fact, I'll save 1 Clubhouse invite for an existing insider. I'll give away randomly, and I'll give 2 Clubhouse invites out to new insiders of the show. And so if I see you come in, we'll let you be the first 2 that become insiders. We'll get, and plus you're going to get access to the new Podcast Insider, or not it's not Podcast Insider, the new Insider podcast here at Blueberry. At Blueberry, at Geek News Central. Duh. What am I saying? Rick says, putting my budget into any app by Google is a no-go for me. That's all I need is for Google to know all my financials. Oh, that's probably true. I agree. So lots of financial software out there that's available. Those were mostly free solutions. But anyway, if you want to invite to Clubhouse and you're not an insider yet, that's your gateway to do that, okay? Okay, HBO Max continues to offer 20% off subscriptions. The offer was due to expire, but HBO Max Extended Offer that gives 20% off a 6-month subscription. So how to get this, whether you're new or returning HBO Max subscriber, the offer became available in December 2020. So it's continuing now. So they're trying to get people in there. So this is a 20% off a 6-month subscription if you're not already HBO Max. U.S. game spending smashes records in 2020. I think we kind of knew this a little bit, but they're saying a tweet from the U.S. market analyst NPD Group's Matt Piscatella has revealed some amazing figures. In the U.S. alone, gamers spent around $60 billion in 2020. This is a massive increase. Now, my son contributed this a little bit. Both my sons did. This is a massive increase of 27%, which equates to roughly $15 billion based on 2019's $45 billion. So $60 billion was spent in online gaming. It's really, really, really incredible. December was a record-breaking month to top off a busy year. It saw increases of $1.5 billion in spending to $7.7 billion from $6.2 billion in December 2019. Nintendo's been doing well with the Switch in 2020 as well. Microsoft's been pretty pleased with its Series XS launch figures. Throw in a successful PS5 launch where no one can get a PS5 because they're all sold out. The gaming industry is making some money, some real money here. That's just amazing. Hardware went from $3.9 billion in 2019 to $5.3 billion in 2020. So people are spending those stimulus checks. Accessories enjoying an increase of $0.4 billion in 2019 to $2.2 in 2020. Oh, no. 2.2 to 2.6. So a $0.4 billion increase. So what do these figures say? COVID's been good for the gaming business. Everyone's been bored to tears. So people are looking to amuse themselves. I did it through watching YouTube series. A lot of people looks like spent it gaming, which is not at all surprising. So Rick says, oh, by the way, Clubhouse is only for iOS right now, no Android app. He says, do you know if Clubhouse would work on a PC running an iOS emulator? I have no idea, Rick. I really don't. I do not know for sure. Be a good thing to Google around a little bit. Apple is building a future foldable iPhone prototype is the rumor. Now, it's not ready to ship, but Apple is working on this, I guess. It's varied the look of the iPhone a handful of times, but a foldable iPhone would definitely be different. You know, do we need a foldable phone? You know, most current foldable phones are between 6 and 8 inches when unfolded. There's no prototypes that have been in the wild yet, so I guess we'll see. But do we really need a foldable phone? Has anybody in this audience bought a foldable phone? Now, I found this next article very interesting. 4 good reasons to get an emergency burner phone. The tenet of this article is having a backup burner phone could come in handy even if you don't end up using it often. And here's several solid uses for an emergency burner phone. Now, what is a burner phone? Well, a burner phone is usually an inexpensive phone. We used them at CES for years. As a matter of fact, I had a couple at one time. 1 year we let it expire. I had to get another one. This basically you can run it for a month, turn it off. A couple of months later, turn it back on, use it again. So we use it for CES, NAB. We'd use it for our green room, so we didn't have to use our personal phones. But I haven't had a burner phone in a long time. But essentially, a burner phone is another name for a prepaid cell phone. Again, it's a device you don't plan to keep for a long time once you exhausted the phone minutes or its usefulness. So, number one, have a backup for emergencies. This is a natural reason to keep a burner. All cell phones, even if it's a burner phone, must be able to call 911, even if the phone doesn't subscribe to the carrier's network. So 911 can be used at all times. And that's why you see the emergency call option at the bottom of a locked smartphone. Should an emergency arise, a responder could grab any nearby phone and contact 911. Next thing, number 2, log out of the always connected world. Now, it's easy to get sucked into your smartphone. Maybe you have trouble focusing on conversation in person while your phone is going off. Maybe you just don't want to be on and tracked as much. So this might be an option for you, because some of these burner phones are pretty basic. Most of them are smartphones, but you don't have to load them up with a bunch of apps. You don't have to do that. Again, staying private. The word burner, especially because of TV shows and movies, imply that you intend to use such a device for a short time and discard it. For most people, this isn't worth the cost, but anyone who's especially privacy conscious can take advantage of burner phones in this way. A basic burner phone doesn't require a Google account, GPS tracking your location, or ads. And you see, you can log into that stuff and start tracking, but you don't have to. And having a secondary phone also gets you access to a secondary phone number if you don't want to or can't use a service like Google Voice for a secondary number. Having a burner phone allows you to give out another number to disguise your real one. That's great for companies, potential creeps. So ladies, if you're dating and maybe you want just to give a number to a guy, but you don't know if he's passing the non-creep test yet, that keeps the burner phone can go away, if you end the dating, and guys, I guess the same thing too. 4, you can access useful SMS services. So SMS texting, while limited compared to messaging apps like WhatsApp, Signal still has some uses. So there's some good services that use SMS a lot. So they give a list of burner phones that you can pick up to. And again, you can get one at almost any store these days that have any type of electronic products. And $100 will probably get you in there on the most cheapest model. WhatsApp and Facebook are facing some issues due to data sharing transparency, and that's under review by the European Union after Ireland sends a draft decision. So a long-running investigation in the European Union's focus on the transparency of data sharing between Facebook and WhatsApp has taken a major step toward a resolution. Ireland's Data Protection Commissioner confirmed Saturday it sent a draft decision to fellow EU DPAs towards the back of end of last year. This will trigger a review process of the draft. Majority backing for Facebook's led EU data supervisor proposed settlements required under the General Data Protection Regulation before decision can be finalized. So anyway, we'll see what this goes on. And there might be a fine. Twitter got one for $550,000 last month. So we'll see what happens with this. A lot more conscious in the European Union about privacy than we are here in the United States. There's also a rumor out there that this year's iPhone may have a screen touch ID. And the charging port might be retired. Now, please, 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 please do not do this. Because here's the thing. You know how many, for creators, being able to attach accessories to the TRSS connector is very, very important. So I don't want to go to wireless charging. I really don't. But that might be the case. Wireless charging is not as good as wired charging. It'll never be the same. One thing I ran into here, and I will admit, I bought a knockoff charger for my MacBook. I had a regular Apple charger and cable at the house, and here in the office, I had a knockoff charger and cable, and I kept having charging issues here with the MacBook. And several times I've come in and had to wiggle the cable or whatever, and just didn't seem to charge right. So money spent twice. I saved like $40 the first go around, but today Amazon delivered my new charger and cable and working like a champ. I'm sitting at 100% charge, even though the old charger could never get me to 100%. So something to be said here. I don't know. You should be able to use knockoff chargers on a MacBook, but the one I got, probably a Chinese knockoff, did not do the job. So it'll be over here in storage someplace, so it never comes up and, I need to use it for something. We'll see. Smartwatches may detect the signs of COVID-19 before you're sick. Small changes in heartbeat might appear up to a week before you show symptoms. This is some testing that's being done. Smartwatch and fitness wearables are being used in a test to detect small changes to a user's heartbeat that may indicate they have coronavirus a full week before they feel sick. A lot of people don't feel sick at all with coronavirus. No symptoms. One company's even developed a custom wearable to detect COVID-19, all of which could help stop the spread. Just get the vaccines going, and, that'll slow things down too. Microsoft Edge Beta is now optimized for your M1 Mac. So if you have a Mac, and it's one of the new M1 versions, Microsoft Edge is available in a beta. I don't know why you would do that, not just use a Chrome browser, but some people like that Edge one. Trouble over at NASA. The debut firing of NASA's Space Launch Systems, their core stage, was cut short following a major component failure. Of course, the SLS is made up of 4 space shuttle rockets. Same design, just, integrated differently. This test firing was supposed to last between 485 and 493 seconds, but the test firing only lasted 67 seconds when Engine 4 had an issue, and they aborted. This is probably going to be a major setback for SLS because NASA was targeting this year for a launch of an uncrewed Artemis before shoving astronauts into the capsule for a subsequent mission ahead of the moon landing in 2024. If you can't get the motors running right, you can't get them to sequence, you can't run them for 485 to 493 seconds, there's no way that you can strap this thing to a launch, basically to its it's the SLS system, and make a go of it. So we'll see what happens here. Maybe it ends up being something simple. Hopefully. Motorola's next flagship phone leaks in real-world images. And I would show this to you if we were watching, but I'm going to save my test to the end to see if things cut off. But anyway, Motorola has a new flagship phone. Link will be up in the show notes. It's called the Neo. It's going to have 4 cameras on the back of it. So following some of the major designs out by other phone manufacturers at this point. The Apple TV Plus, well, they've extended the free subscription period again. If you got an Apple TV Plus free with the purchase of a device, your subscription will be extended at no cost. And that promotion was due to expire in November 2020, but it was extended to February 2021. It's going to be free until July 2021. I wonder why. So if you bought an iPhone or an iPad, or you were able to get this free deal, and a bunch of other things too. But anyway, I've had Apple TV. I don't know how I got a free subscription. Maybe I don't. I haven't watched it at all. So nary a clue. Any of you use Apple TV Plus? I've got movies I watch on my Apple TV, but those are movies I have bought and purchased and downloaded. But any of you using Apple TV Plus? One thing that last week from CES, and I didn't talk a lot about it in the last show, but I did about 6 hours of interviews, is that health tech, focusing on the elderly, is huge. Everything from fighting loneliness to helping with balance, helping people to live at home, virtual robots to help watch over elderly that are living at home. It just went on and on and on and on a whole bunch of stuff that was showcased by the AARP, was showcased by startups. Health tech and keeping old people alive and healthy was a huge, huge, huge part of CES this year. And if you missed any of my interviews, you can rewatch the entire coverage of CES right on my Facebook page. You can see the 8 to some hours we did every day, the tech podcast team. You go back and watch that. It's there stored on the website. Lots of cool stuff. So definitely check it out. Instacart will give shoppers $25 when they take time off to get a coronavirus vaccine. Of course, those folks probably won't be getting one for a while because they're only doing 65 and older and caretakers and healthcare workers and first responders. But Beginning February 1st, any full-service Instacart shopper in North America who has shopped at least 5 batches, which include 1 or more customer orders in the past 30 days, can get $25 when they to go get their COVID shot or COVID vaccine. So coronavirus vaccine. Following on here, we've got headbands for sleeping. I'm not familiar with any of these at all. Have any of you used headphones for sleeping or something like called HomeBed or bed phones? Have any of you used any of these sleeping products? I don't think I could. I wear a CPAP, so I'm already wearing a harness, and I have the nose type. So I guess I could get used to wearing that. I guess it helps monitor. Have any of you used any of these? But anyway, I have a link up to check it out. If you want to help improve your sleep, supposedly help your health, the 8 best headphones for sleeping, HomeBand, bed phones, and Bose were some of the products they highlighted. Final article tonight, best photo printers for Android 2021. How many of you are still printing photos? Most printers will print a nice photo, but if you're looking for something that they'll work with your Android device real well, link will be in the show notes on that. So that said, what I want to do here is I do have some emails that come in. We're going to read the emails that came in. And let me go down here. I'm in the wrong email account. By the way, I had an interview today with a reporter talking about censorship and podcasting, and 45 minutes. It was an interesting article. Let's just put it that way. And an interesting interview. And she's supposed to send me over the final copy of where I was quoted and what to make sure I get sign off on it. But maybe she won't quote me at all. I don't know, but it was definitely an interesting interview, and you guys know my policy on free speech. I think probably figure out how it went. All right, let me go ahead and look here, and I got an email from Jim from 1499, and this is about my rant that I had on 1499. Todd, good rant regarding Google, Apple, and Amazon destroying Parler.com, and if someone was using Parler to organize the Capitol attack. Well, investigation and trial has not occurred yet. Do we have due process of law or lynch mobs? That the attack was organized with Parler is questionable, but if someone was using Parler to organize it, then the ones organizing it are not Parler. What about Section 230, Safe Harbor, where tech companies are not held responsible for the actions of their public? Can you spell hypocrite? Also, I'd like to point out the insanity of having someone who is good at software suddenly be an expert in medicine or being a guiding hand in politics. Nothing against software types. I'm a tech guy myself, but how do these tech giants who produce software think that qualifies them to adjudicate medical or political facts? I think I will ask my plumber for legal advice or a housekeeper to diagnose if I have cancer. Makes as much sense. People need to wake up. Love the show. Love the soapbox. Great to hear someone who is able to see logic and common sense. And Jim, thank you for your comments from show 1499. Surprised that there wasn't that many more that came in on 1499. I did get an email from Gary. He says, hey, Todd, and a very big congrats on 1,500 shows. And a very big thanks for keeping me better informed as I don't visit tech news sites as often as I did once. May the next 1,500 flow even more easily and the 1,500 times more profitable for you. Let us hope so. That would be awesome. Regards, Gary. Thanks, Gary, for the comment. Got an email from Jim. No. Wait a minute. Let me back up here. Thanks to Sam. He says, Todd, and Sam was responsible for our album art for 1500. So I want to congratulate you on making it to episode 1500. This is a truly feat of endurance. You welcomed us listeners to your Rohana and made us feel like family. I've enjoyed the way you bring us to tech news. Keep on being you. It's your personality, take on news, and occasional soapbox ramps that keeps us tuning in twice a week. Keep producing the show, and we'll keep listening. Sam in Albuquerque. And let's see here. Did I read this one already? Oh, Todd, great show last night. What happened to owning your own real estate, however? If GoDaddy did this, it is very disturbing. Can you confirm? It talks about a Breitbart article where GoDaddy allegedly kicks a pro-gun site off their servers. Now, here's the thing, Dan. It's always in the terms of service. You got to read the terms of service anywhere you go to make sure you understand what they allow or disallow. I don't have any information on this. I'm actually going to send this over to my team at GoDaddy and see if I can get a response out of them on that. Oftentimes, they're not at all looped into something like that, and they'll dig through. So I'll see if I can get an answer, Dan. Curfew fun. He says, curfew in Quebec, Canada. You're allowed to walk your dog. So Rob is in Blind River, Ontario, Canada, and a Quebec couple has been hit with I'm waiting for this to load, a curfew violation fine after the wife walks the husband on a leash. A Sherbrooke husband and wife were handled sizable fines for violating curfew despite the wife's protest that she's walking her dog and the fact the husband was wearing a leash. The woman and her husband were each given a $1,500 fine by Sherbrooke police for violating curfew. The pair was caught at walking at 9 p.m. on a Saturday evening. Police said the two were walking towards downtown and did not cooperate with the officers. When questioned by police, the couple said they were happy to receive the ticket and claimed they're following the rules set forth by Premier François Legault. Quebec officials have said people may walk their dogs after the 8 p.m. curfew, provided they stay within 1 kilometer of their house. Over the first weekend of the curfew, police officers across Quebec handed out 750 tickets worth thousands of dollars in fines being caught out after 8 p.m. You know, honestly, you can't go outside and walk in Canada. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to me. Have you noticed how all of a sudden now we're going to start opening some stuff up? Now it's going to be okay in the United States to do certain activities? Big change of pace just last week? Do you think that our government is loving the control they have upon us right now? And when are people in Canada going to stand up and say enough is enough? You can't walk outside after 9 p.m. They have a curfew. It's incredible. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It really, really is. All right. So I'm at the end. So what am I going to do? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show a screen, and we're going to see if Facebook blocks this. So I'm going to say my goodbyes before I flip this over. I want to thank everyone for being here. geeknews@gmail.com is a place to come and basically share with what you think about the show. geeknews@gmail.com. And we definitely thank you all for being here. And definitely consider becoming an insider and make it worth it for you. All right? I'm going to do my best. So, again, a $2, $5, $10, $15, $20, or $25. Don't let a $25 scare you. Get started for $2. $2 a month. geeknewscentral.com/insider. Every penny that is donated to the show as being an insider goes right back into... We had to limit this year the CES coverage because I didn't have enough budget to cover writing the additional articles. So I'd like to get beyond that. I'd like to be able to cut the writing team loose and let them write 200 articles during CES. But this year I couldn't. I had to I got one of my writers said, "Hey, I've hit my limit." I give him 10 more to keep it in budget. So that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. So your support directly helps the site, helps the show, keeps the writers, all that stuff going. If that's important to you, again, it's just not for the podcast, but it's a bigger piece of Geek News Central and what I do there. And if you're not reading the website for all the great content that we're putting up, please start. Come to the website, read the articles, comment on them, provide us feedback. Tell us what we're not covering so we make it more enhancing for you. Are you not coming to a website anymore? You need to be. We give you unbiased, independent news and information that I trust my team to give you what they think about this stuff. All right. So, all right. Here comes the screen. We'll see if Facebook cuts me off. I'll keep talking while this is going on. And the screen's up. So we'll see. I'll keep watching here and see if they kill it. Now, probably tonight they won't kill it. And there's always a delay. You guys know when I go offline, there's a delay between the time when I say goodbye and when the stream actually ends. Right there. They killed it. Bada bing, bada boom. Proven fact. All right, everyone. Take care. We'll see you next time here on the Geek News Central podcast. Bye-bye.